Because every day here in Worldwide Exchange, we talk about trade every single day. And I'm waiting. Where was the dialogue about this massive trade fight last night? It was ignored.
Almost entirely, almost nothing about sort of the fundamental economic and maybe geopolitical issue facing the United States and the global economy now. Almost nothing. The only person who talked really a little bit about it was Elizabeth Warren. And she didn't sound a whole lot different than the president. She was talking about the need to make everything in the United States. She wants all the good jobs here. I think someone should have asked Elizabeth Warren, does she want all those iPhones made in Fremont, California? Because it kind of sounded like she did, just like Trump.
Yeah, listen, if you talk about trade, you have to talk about politics, because the election was really won in a few counties in Wisconsin and Pennsylvania and maybe in Michigan, particularly in lower Wisconsin. They may not care about trade. And you're speaking to somebody who, by the way, part-time lives in Wisconsin for part of the year. They may not care about trade, but they care about jobs. They care about manufacturing jobs. They care about middle-class wages and sending their kids to college. That's the connection. I was very surprised that that was not a hotter topic.
It really was strange. And one has to wonder, right, so people view these tariffs sort of as maybe as a mechanism for getting those jobs back here. And I have to wonder if a lot of those Democrats were thinking, boy, Trump beat us to it. Trump beat us to those tariffs, because maybe they're working, maybe they're not, maybe they're, going to raise prices, but they seem to have gotten China's attention. And at least it's a plan. I don't see the Democrats really have a plan on that front. And recently they were asked if they would at least go back and join that old Pacific trade deal, which Trump pulled out of. A lot of them don't want to do that. So what do they want to do?
Well, apparently only two of them would like to kill private insurance. I mean, I think the question was, Medicare for all, would you like to do away with private insurance? The Aetnas, the Cignas, the United Healthcares of the world, and only two of them raised their hand on that. I mean, listen, healthcare in many ways is the economy, Jimmy. I mean, like it or hate it, it's a $1 trillion+ business in the United States. What did you make of that lack of hand raise, or the two hands that were raised?
I think it shows you that most of those candidates understand the risk of telling people who are happy with their health insurance, which is people who have health insurance through their company, that we're going to take that away and try something different. That's a big risk. And I'm pretty sure ultimately that is how President Trump is going to respond to the Democrats and all their plans. He's going to say, listen, assuming we're not in a recession, the economy, the jobless rate is the lowest in 50 years, and Democrats are proposing a lot of, quote unquote, risky schemes that would change that. Elizabeth Warren wants structural change in the economy. When the unemployment rate's, like 4% or less, that may seem risky to a lot of voters.
Yeah, and here's the other part as well, and I think that, I don't know if people like private health insurance or not, Jimmy, because you get these bills and you wonder, what the heck am I paying for when my deductible goes up every year? I take my kid for stitches at the emergency room and get a $900 bill outside of insurance. I get it, but I think there's two elements at work here. Number one, people largely, I'm not saying it's right, distrust the government to do things well in some cases. But also, it's a job story. I mean, it's a $1 trillion industry. There's hundreds of thousands of jobs that are involved in private health insurance, many of which are back office jobs, by the way, in states like Wisconsin, like Michigan, like Pennsylvania and Ohio, the states that matter.
Great point. What I thought was interesting is that those kind of trade-offs and those kind of second and third order effects of putting in like big plans, whether it's healthcare or something else, weren't generally considered by the candidates. The one person I heard actually address that kind of thing was John Delaney from Maryland, who was talking about the impact of Medicare for all on hospitals. That kind of like thinking through the problem beyond the obvious. I rarely heard that. Delaney talked about it, and then they quit calling on him.
Jimmy, I retweeted you last night. He's the only former CEO. He was involved actually in healthcare finance, if I remember correctly. We've interviewed him many times. He put an infrastructure proposal. I don't know what chances Mr. Delaney has, but you are correct. But I do wonder, will those sort of largely long thought through answers, are they going to play with the electorate?
I don't know. It's not a soundbite, but he sounded like a guy who had the receipts.